In this video, we will look at how we can optimize the loop such that it exits at the first non-numeric character with using return or without using return. And this program is building on the program that we wrote in Java 45. So just a quick recap on what we did. We had a string entry. Initially, we took the entry from the user as a string, and then we checked if that string contained any character input. And if it contained any character input, we said, don't, rewrite or re-enter. If it contained any empty strings or any characters. Only then we passed that string into a double when we made sure that it contained only numbers. And we did this for our first number and for our second number and elsewhere when we took the menu option. So when we took the menu option as a user choice, we also made sure that it didn't have any numbers and it didn't have any empty entries. So now we want to scroll all the way down to this method, which is called check input, to see how we can optimize this method. But if we look at this method, it's basically returning true if that string is empty. We then set a Boolean to false called has string and return that at the end. If it has a string, it's going to become true. If it doesn't have a string, it's on numbers, then it returns false. And only when it's false. So at this point, if it's true, we don't want to, we want to ask the user to re-enter. Only when it's false do we then parse it into whatever value we want. So here we wanted to pass it into an integer. Okay, so it's only set to true if that user entry. So here we are looping one character at a time. And as soon as it encounters any character that is not a number from 0 to 9, it then set that Boolean into true. But notice that what's happening is it's going to check this value, set it to true. It's going to check, say, I'm going to copy this value. Then it's going to check W, it's going to check E, and it's setting it to true. So really there's code that is running for no value. So in terms of functionality, it's not going to change. So it's still going to function the same. And let's exit. But in terms of improving or optimizing the code, in terms of improving the complexity of the code, making it run less, yeah, that's going to be improved. But let me show you what I mean. If I say, if I print out this value, I'm going to copy this string again, and I'm going to run it. So I'm just going to show you how it actually goes inside the loop for the letter T, set it to true, and then same for W, E. So as soon as it finds that it's a character, it's going to get inside the if condition. And the only change it's doing is setting it to true. But once this is set to true, nothing else matter. So it only needs to be set to true only once. So this really comes back to the beginning of the title. We want to optimize the loop such that it exits on the first non-numeric character. The first approach I'm going to try is without using the return statement in the middle of the loop. So how we do that is I can actually take this condition, this Boolean, and add a condition. As long as this is not true, we go inside the loop. So if there is more, that we haven't finished the length of the string. In addition to that, if this is not set to true. Now I'm going to run it. I'm going to show you how, I should have copied this string here. And I'll show you how that we've optimized it. Now the loop doesn't go for these values. As soon as it found the first value to be a character, it steps out of the loop. So that's one approach. If you didn't want to use return in the middle of the method, that's how we do it. But then if you want to use a return statement, let's show how we can do that. Well, since we've used return here, we might as well also use return. And this really depends, making this choice really depends on what you want to achieve from your code. So if the goal in this particular case is to simply check if the string contains any non-numeric characters, and we don't need to perform any other actions based on this information inside the loop, then we could use return true to exit immediately to make this program even more efficient and more straightforward. So it really depends if I want to keep doing more checks there. So if I want to perform additional action or check after finding a non-numeric character inside the loop, then maybe this approach is more suitable. So this way I can control the loop's exit, but allows me to continue executing the code that comes after the while loop somewhere here. So it really depends on what you want. But for this particular code block, what I think makes it more efficient is just using the return true, because I've got no additional work that I want to do using this approach. But then it is up to you, because sometimes using return in multiple places in your method can make it more complicated. It can also make it harder to understand. But if you find that using return makes your code clearer and more efficient, especially in a simple case like this, where the loop has a clear purpose, then it can be a valid approach, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to get rid of this line. We don't need this condition anymore, and only you're going to return false in the end. We don't need this condition, and we will return true. So let's show you how this works. So 12, 20, 12. So again, it's also stepping out as soon as it found the first encounter. And I hope this video really helped you into improving the complexity of your code using two approaches, and then it's up to you to decide which approach is more straightforward, which approach is more efficient, which approach is simpler to read, depending on the goal of your code. And I'll see you in the next ones. Thank you.